Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning, and today we are going to explain each of our own poem based on our own views. Starting from me, from Aqila. So the title of my poem is A Lame Beggar Made by John Donne from the Renaissance era. I'm going to read it first. I am unable yonder beggar guides to stand or move. If he say true, he lies. So when you pay attention what based on how I read it, I use a iambic meter, but at the first two words I didn't use it. Why? Because you can read it with two different ways. You can read it like in one syllable, such as like I am, or you can read it in two syllables, which is I am. So I started using the iambic on the word unable. Next, I'm going to explain the semicolon here after the word move, between move and give. So it gives a connection from the first idea, which is stand or move, to the next one, which is if he said so, he lies. My view on this poem is based on the political system on the Renaissance era. So in the past, there are different type of political system, maybe like monarchies or city, state, like countries or republics. And from my view is that this poem was made by one of the citizens from a country, and this poem is talking about the beggar, which is a political candidate at that time. He was begging because he needs a support from the people to support him so that he can get into power. And the word unable here means that this person, this speaker, he is unable to support him because he doesn't believe him that he is struggling to reach that to reach at the top, which is being elected. The word stand or move here means that metaphorically, it means that he wants to be elected, or he wants to make a new move on the country, like he wants to make new regulations, new laws, and the rest. So the word yonder here, it came from an old English, and yonder means over there. So it's like he's saying that beggar that is far away, he is crying, like it is ironic. Why? Because if you really need the support of your people, then why do you live far away from your people? Why do you separate yourself from the rest of the people? So he said, if he said true, he lies. There are two different ideas, contradicting ideas here, that it could be true that he really needs a help. He's genuinely in need of a support from the people because he may be against an opposing faction that has a backing, much more power. But he could also be lying. He could also putting a mask on himself. He could just begging just because he's selfish and he's not really caring with the people. So I just mentioned the metaphor and ironic ideas in this poem. It also only has two lines. Oh yeah, I'm going to talk now about the pattern. So there are two patterns of a poem, which are the regular pattern and irregular pattern. Now, because my poem only has two lines, that means that it is only limited to one like categorization. But if For example, if there are like 4 lines, you can say it's A B, but because it's only 2 lines, it only has one mark, like A. This might only be regular pattern, which is AA. You can see from the last 3 letters of these lines matches Christ and eyes. It means that it signifies the use of regular pattern. But if it were a irregular pattern, that means it would be the same. It will be AB. It already counted as irregular pattern form rather than regular, since it only has 2 lines. And yeah, that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, next, my name is Zaskia Azzahra, and I'm going to recite the poem Eternity by William Blake. He who binds himself to joy does the winged life destroy, but he who kisses the joy as it flies live in eternity's sunrise. And as you guys can see, is a 1 stanza poem. We only have 1 stanza and with 4 lines, which means it's a quatrain. And the rhyme is AABB, as you can see, even though the 3rd and 4th lines doesn't end up with the same alphabet, but it's rhymed the same. It flies and sunrise, it's same, so it's AABB. And when I first read this poem, my first thought is what I imagined is a boy who sees a beautiful butterflies. You might ask why I think about butterflies. It's because they're winged life. And automatically I just think about butterflies. And the boy sees that butterflies and think about, like, I really like this butterfly, why did I keep it to myself? And as the days goes by, that's the winged life destroyed. The butterflies gradually weaker day by day. And then, but he who chases the joy as it flies, live in eternity's sunrise. And he started to realize that keeping the butterfly to himself, like, is not gonna do it any better. So he decided to free the butterfly, and yeah, that's it. But after I read it a couple of times, I just realized that the meaning of this poem is to live in the moment right now, to enjoy the life's happiness and good times that happening right now, just to embrace the moment. And as even though the moments is short, as is fleeting, to appreciate the moments of happiness, we have to appreciate the moments of happiness without any attachment. Of course, you can keep the happiness in your heart, but to attach to it, I don't think it's do you any better. Because living in the present is timeless and eternal. And you guys can see the winged life. I think it's the metaphor, symbolism about something that is fragile. For example, like a joy moment is fragile because it's short and it fleets away. It's slipping to your fingers. And sunrise, eternity sunrise. Sunrise, I would like to think that it was a new beginning, because sunrise is a new beginning, and eternity is something that eternal life. So the eternal of the new beginning. And I think that's it. Thank you. Next.
Now it's my turn to explain my poem. My name is Maura Mulyawanata, and I bring you a Victorian poem, One Seaside Grave by Christina Rossetti. Unmindful roses, unmindful thorn, a reaper tiredly pauses among his gathered corn. So make I till the morn, cold as the cold Decembers, fast as the days that set. while only one remembers and all the rest forget, but one remembers yet. Okay, that's all. I think Christina delivers the poem really beautiful and melancholic. And as you can see here, it has 2 stanzas, and each has 5 lines in its stanzas, and following the rhyme scheme A B A B B C D C D D. And now let's explore to the meaning of the poem. I think the poem explores the themes of loneliness, isolation, and death. Let's take a look to the title of the poem, One Seaside Grave. In literary, it can be means a grave that located near the sea. But based on the context of the poem, it can be also means that it's a burial site with the beautiful scenery, like a sea. Now let's get into the first stanzas. On the first 2 lines, unmindful of the roses, unmindful of the thorns. The imagery of roses and thorns can be represented as good things and bad things that we encountered in daily life. The duality of life, beautiful and pain. And the word unmindful, it can be interpreted, it's a hint that the character of the poem is not even care about the good things and bad things that happen in his life. But why? The hint is on the next lines. A reaper tired reposes among his gathered corn. So my eye till the morn. It's we can see the hint that the character or the reaper is tired from working. From his tired working, as now that he resting among the corns. But we can also assume in other way. Based on the title of the poems, it can be also mean that the reaper is died in the middle of working. And by the word sea, the field of corn, if we see that from far away, it looks like the sea of corn. It's very beautiful scenery. And next to the next stanzas, it's telling us more about the feeling of the character in the poem. Cold as the cold December. The character in the poem is feeling lonely. It's felt like the cold of winter in the December. No one dared to warm him. And the next line, pass as the days that sad. It's like pass of the days that fading out like the setting of the sun. Or maybe the character wants to forget his past or cold memories, let it go. Or in the meaning that the character want to search the peace. And the last line, while only one remembers and all the rest forget, but one remembers yet. It can be mean after his death, only the loved one remembers him. But I can see different meaning from that line. Maybe it's more than the character from the poem. Maybe it's a message from us who read this poem. That we know the story of him, the reaper, and hoping that we appreciate his hard work and his existence. Or maybe other people that like him, that working really hard for them and their family. And we must appreciate them all who work really hard, that we don't even notice their big contribution in our life. That's all for me. Thank you for listening.
Okay, now we will open for questions. You can ask us questions. Okay.
Can you move to the left beggar a bit?
kan dari kami formal tadi sekali.
Alright, so I want to ask you Farhan. You said that beggar can be preferred as politicians from the city or a country, right? I want to know your point of view. Why did you find it that way? Why did you find the word beggar as a politician? Because the first and second speaker has a really different point of view. Thank you.
Other questions?
No more questions? Please raise your hand.
Tanya di belakang ditanya.
Oke, saya akan langsung aja dijawab lagi. Jadi saya melihatnya itu karena itu yang muncul saya saat saya tahu bahwa Bob ini tuh berasal dari the Renaissance era, dan saya juga sudah melakukan penelitian tentang Renaissance era itu, tentang dia tuh seperti apa sih zamannya. Ternyata zaman dulu tuh saya mengiranya sebelumnya itu hanya terdiri dari kerajaan. Ternyata bukan begitu, ada juga yang republik dan seperti yang saya sebutkan ya. Jadi ketika saya tahu itu, saya ketika membaca komik itu mikirkannya tentang ini mungkin berbicara tentang bagaimana sistem politik zaman dulu bentuknya juga apa, dan mungkin saja zaman dulu itu juga ada semacam election atau pokoknya apapun sistem itu yang membutuhkan support dari the people gitu. Jadi dari itu saya pandangan saya berasal gitu.
So it's soft critics in your point of view.
Yes.
Thank you.
Is there? Okay, Adit.
Can we move back to 1C side break, please? So first of all, my name is Adit, and I want to ask Maura about your opinion on what experience did Christina Rossetti went through before writing this. What inspired her to write this poem?
How do you get the question?
Is there any questions? Yes, Adit.
First of all, my name is Kurniawan from Grade 1. I want to ask to Maura, do you think the writer of the poem, One Seaside Grave, emphasize more about death or appreciating life? From your point of view.
Okay, is there any more questions before we close? Okay, since there's no more questions, so that's Maura.
I will answer Adit question first. What is Christina get through before writing this poem? I'm not really sure her biography, but maybe it's getting inspiration from society. Like there's so many people out there working really hard to get money in buying food for families or themselves. I think that's the answer from me. Is that answer your question? Then I will answer Aryan's question. Is it based on death or life? I think it's more into the death. The hard work of a reaper in his life before his death. like he is tired from working and working. He is working tirelessly until he is approaching his death, like that. Is that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Okay, so that's it from our presentation from Group 10. Thank you for listening and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.